So, which of these singers do you want for your record label, Chi series?
Someone who can become the next big singing sensation. Of course, I'll own the songs and royalties. I'll just give them a salary and commission. I need someone who looks good, has a sad backstory,
And can sing.
Nah, that is secondary.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I want it that way.
Backstreet Boys, I'm familiar. Number one, can you sing the opening to I Want It That Way?
Okay, but I don't know the lyrics.
Just make something up.
Okay. I was just fired.
Number two, keep it going.
The most desired.
Number three,
Believe that I'm gay.
TRP.
I sing like KK.
Ask them why they should be selected.
Tell me why.
I've just had a heartbreak.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a pretty face.
Now number five.
I just wanna hear you say that I can sing okay.
Chills. Literal chills.
Number 5. Number 5 can't be selected.
आप मुंबई नहीं आ सकते.
Listen to this song.
केसरिया तेरा.
I'm sure you must have heard this song somewhere because it has 128 million views on YouTube, 542 million streams on Spotify, and over 3.2 million different reels on Instagram. But if I were to ask you, whose song is it? I'm sure most of you are not going to say Pritam, though he's one of the most famous composers, as per Spotify Rewind at least. And you're definitely not going to say Amitabh Bhattacharya, because who knows him, despite him giving some of the best songs ever? No, you are going to say Arijit Singh. Kesariya is Arijit Singh's song, and the YouTube comments would agree. Even though Ranveer and Alia are arguably the biggest stars in Bollywood and Brahmastra was one of the biggest films ever, but all the comments spoke about Arijit Singh. Just like the actor is usually perceived as the face of the film, the singer is perceived as the face of the song. You watch a film because of the actor and you jam to a song because of the singer. Unless of course the director is Rajamouli or the composer is A.R. Rahman. Okay, back to Kesariya. Do you know how much the song has made since its release? In India, the average CPM or revenue per 1,000 views stands roughly at 54.6 rupees, whereas Spotify pays about 18 paise or 0.18 rupees per stream, which means the song has roughly clocked about 16.5 crores just from YouTube and Spotify. But do you know how much the face of the song made? 0 rupees.
So the popular belief is that as singers, we get paid to sing a song. And that's not true.
Contrary to what the first Google search will tell you.
So singers in India, we would love if we would earn money from the sales of songs, but we don't.
That happens in the West.
It happens in the West.
And even the composer and the lyricist didn't see most of the money that the song made. So how does the music industry function? Who actually owns the music you listen to? Who keeps the money? And how is it distributed among the many stakeholders? And if you were to bypass all of this and become a musician today, how much could you realistically make? My name is Lavina Kamath, and here's the full disclosure. In between film songs, single tracks, albums, live performances, paid gigs, and corporate shows, music is a 12,000 crore industry. The recording industry, where music is recorded and published on various platforms, just that by itself has crossed 2,500 crores in revenue this year. And this number is only projected to grow from here. Out of the 12,000 crores, about 5,700 crores came from digital platforms like YouTube and Spotify. The next big chunk came from broadcasting, which is your TV and satellite rights. Only about 1,200 came from film theatrical rights. But most creators are still struggling to claim their share of the revenue from this massive industry. Of the 10,500 recognized members of the Indian Performing Rights Society, almost 70% have made less than 25,000 a year making music. In a survey conducted by EY, most creators claimed that the majority of their earnings come from live performances and concerts.
I don't think any singer has gotten paid to sing a song. Be it Arijit Singh, be it me, be it whoever.
Which, by the way, make up only 805 crore of the 12,000 crore market, the smallest share, less than 7%, while most of the revenue is reserved not for the face of the song, but the owner of the song.
I don't think all the songs that I have sung, I could have earned anything because I've not created those songs. I'm not a composer on those songs, and neither am I a writer on those songs. I'm just a singer and a vocalist and a performer.
But who is the owner of the song? The answer is not that obvious. There are three major players that claim ownership of a song. Authors, which would be your writers, composers, not singers, mind you.
But on my English songs, I am a contributor towards this. Like I told you, right? I am part of the song making process. So I'm part of the song creation. So I am a writer. And वहाँ पे writer means person who writes the song, as in the lyrics, and the person who makes the tune for it. So both of them are called writers.
So for a song like Namo Namo, the authors would be Amit Trivedi and the unknown Amitabh Bhattacharya. Then there are publishers or record labels who produce and license the songs. In this case, Zee Music Company. And lastly, the distributors that help the song get listed on Spotify, Apple Music and YouTube and manage payments for the label. And when they sometimes have a disagreement with the label, they will simply pull out their song from the platform. Now you know why Namo Namo was not on Spotify for a year. The stream or the performance or the sales of a song make money. The distributors keep their cuts and transfer the rest to the owners, majority of which is kept by the publisher. So where are the singers then? Well, they're not one of the owners, and we'll come to the reason in a second. But before a piece of music can reach you, it has to go through these stages. First, a lyricist will pen down a song and a composer will write the music. Or sometimes it could happen the other way around, but it's the authors that create a song. Then they have to find a singer who becomes the voice of the song. Even though it's the singer's voice that you finally hear, they haven't actually created anything. Not the lyrics, not the melody, and definitely not the production, which is usually done by the composers themselves. Then once the song is recorded, it has to be licensed before publishing, and that is where Mr. Dhingra comes in and it all gets murky. The rights of a song get divided into two major domains, the publishing rights and the sound recording rights. Publishing rights are held by the authors for public performance and reproduction of the copyrighted work, and by the publishers themselves to print, adapt, translate, or sing. While sound recording rights are held only by the labels, and it allows them to sell the work, reproduce it, sample or sync it, and use it for public performance. In other words, rights are where most of the money is at, that is, publishing. Record labels have to list their songs with the Indian Performing Rights Society that acts as the central authority on copyrights, authors, composers, and publishers being its members. So for a song, let's say Ajeeb Dastan, the authors would be the composers, Shankar Jaikishan, and the lyricist Shailendra. The work would have to be registered with Saregama, the label, becoming the owner. And the recordings that would then come out of it, that is Lata Mangeshkar's version and Vivek Singh's version, who were the singers, would become the property of the label. While singers receive just an upfront fee and sometimes not even that.
I don't think any singer has gotten paid to sing a song. Be it Arijit Singh, be it me, be it whoever. As far as I'm aware, I don't think we get paid to sing a song. It's understood that if the song goes in your voice and the song becomes famous, you learn from the shows.
In fact, most of the times, labels test more than 5 to 7 singers for each song to see who fits the mood most perfectly.
But here, I think they're just not very sure of who they want.
So they test different singers.
They test different singers, obviously, which is okay. Obviously, you want to know who would fit the song best. But I have come there. 2 hours of my time have gone there. So I think I should be compensated for that.
So the singer that is not finalized for the song obviously receives no money or royalties. But even the singer who sings the final recording receives almost no fee. When a song is recorded and distributed, whether it's for a film or an independent release, the revenue is split among various stakeholders. After everyone takes their cut, the label is left with anywhere between 30% to 50% of the total revenue. This percentage is what we call royalties. And guess what? The labels keep most of it. The understanding is that the label is allowing you to be heard by millions and you'll make money from shows, so they don't need to give you anything else.
It isn't wrong for the music composers कि तेरा गाना तू मेरी कंपनी में का आर्टिस्ट है तो मैं तुझे काम दूंगा, वरना तेरा काम कितना भी अच्छा हो मैं तुझे काम नहीं तेरे से काम नहीं करूंगा.
Now, Whether it's fair to accuse them of being mafia is for you to decide. But let me tell you why labels do this and why singers still choose to attach with labels instead of going independent. It is really tough to make it big independently, and labels have the resources to make or break stars. And to make stars, they put in a lot of money. The label has all the incentive to make a star so they can sell their songs for money. So it becomes an unsaid understanding that the labels will invest, nurture, curate, and make a star and earn from their songs, while stars will earn from their live shows and concerts. The rest of the authors will get paid a fraction of the royalties. And it's not even just an Indian phenomenon. Justin Bieber, One Direction, and even the king of pop, Michael Jackson himself, were created by labels.
I go through hell touring.
Can we just do it again without the negative saying that you don't like the tour? Just 'cause
I don't like it though.
I know, but
I'll make it positive then.
yeah, it's just don't.
For you know the truth.
And action, Michael.
I love to tour.
But things are changing in the West, with artists now going solo, and the same trend is happening here in India. With artists like Arijit Singh starting their own labels to protect their royalties, it signals the start to a new era where the artist can finally make money from their work. But how are the musicians actually monetizing their songs, and how much money can you expect to make as a musician in India? The largest contributor to a musician's earnings comes from live performances and concerts. The live music market in India was 805 crores from the organized sector. 2022 alone saw a 40% rise in concert ticket sales compared to 2019, making the post-pandemic numbers larger than the pre-pandemic ones. And thanks to Coachella and Diljit Dosanjh, the craze to attend live concerts is at an all-time high. Artists like Arijit Singh and Armaan Malik easily charge anywhere between 50 lakhs to 1.5 crores for a single performance. These big artists also have the privilege of charging a percentage of the ticket sales, sometimes even as high as 75%, but the smaller artists have to make do with the fee they receive. The smaller artists usually get fixed fees that can range anywhere from 0 to 50,000 rupees. Small club gigs can pay anywhere between 20 to 30k per band, and big clubs might even get you 50k to 1 lakh per gig. How the band splits that money is up to the band. But if you're just starting out, you can expect next to no money, with the only payment being the opportunity to perform and be heard by an audience. There are other ways to make money through music though, like streaming. Music streaming has become a large contributor to the earnings of musicians. But this market is even more uncertain than the recording and live performance sectors. This is because streaming has made it possible for millions of listeners to be able to listen to their favorite artists without actually paying for the individual songs. Instead, they just pay a subscription fee and get to listen to all the songs present on the streaming platform. The streaming platforms too earlier used to purchase the rights to use the songs all in one go, which meant that there was no royalty that the artist would receive. The truth is that it is still increasingly difficult to monetize your music only through streaming. The current rate per stream is abnormally low. The artists make an estimated 12 to 18 paise per stream, depending on where they're played, their listener subscription time, and how often their songs are streamed. And the big, bad distributors and record labels may also take a cut from that profit. So if your song does not have millions of streams, streaming is not going to be your main source of income. All they can do is boost your popularity so that you can sell some tickets to your own shows, because that is the place where you will be making most of your money. So that was the full disclosure on the reality of singers in India. Remember, it's not enough to be a talented musician. You also have to become your own brand manager, your own social media strategist, and your own biggest fan. And you have to really know the ins and outs of the industry to be able to leverage yourself up to the top of the industry. So go perform on the open mic, post that song cover on your Instagram, and remember to subscribe to Full Disclosure for more career breakdowns like this. See you guys next week with another full disclosure on why starting your own business might not be such a good decision. Until then, goodbye and have a great day. Go, 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 go. Go.
Wait.
Oh. Dora. Guys, we have a special guest who's come to make you hear her song. Woo! 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 Okay, go. Go now. Dora, you can't be here.